وعدد ورق الأشجار وعدد ما أظلم عليه الليل وما أشرق عليه النهار ولا تواري منه سماء سماء ولا أرض أرضا الحلال ما أحللت والحرام ما حرمت والدين ما شرعت والأمر ما قضيت الخلق خلقك والعبد عبدك وأنت الله الرؤوف الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبه ونبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسألونك عن الأنفال قل الأنفال لله والرسول فاتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم وأطيعوا الله ورسوله إن كنتم مؤمنين. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم آية المنافق ثلاث إذا حدث كذب وإذا وعد أخلف وإذا اؤتمن خان، أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I hope everyone is doing well today. Inshallah. Today, alhamdulillah, and inshallah, we will start with Surah Anfal. So before we move on to Surah Anfal, we have to know what Anfal actually means. So Anfal, then again, my dear respected brothers, now before I move on to the Surah, I want to make this clear that today we will not go into the details of Surah Anfal. This is a live stream, so please do try to understanding. There are various reasons why I am not able to go into the tafsir of this. Now, if you do wish to read the tafsir, the entire tafsir of Surah Anfal, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, mashallah, there are many tafsir out there that are reliable, mu'tabar. Now, the likes of Ma'arif al-Quran, the likes of Tafsir Mathari, Kashaf, there are other tafsir as well. Now, if you do wish to read the tafsir of Surah Anfal, you are free to do so, of course. Now, but one advice, one nasiha would be try doing it under the guidance, under the guidelines, under the supervision of a scholar. Now, either if it's an alim or an alima, that does not matter. But you should do this under the supervision of a scholar. Now, Anfal, what does Anfal mean? Anfal means spoils, war spoils. Now, as we know, back in the days when they would engage with one another, when they would confront one another, the losing side, when they would flee, when they would run away. Now, they, at times, when a person is fleeing, running away from it, running away from death, running for his life. Now, at that moment, a person does not care of his belongings. He takes off. So, the spoils were, at that time, the swords, or whatever was left behind. The handkerchief is also part of this, the spoils. Someone perhaps forgot their scarf or whatever may be, their shawl. That is also considered part of the spoils. Now, the surah was revealed around 2nd Hijri. Most of the surah's content speaks of Badr and Masail related to Badr. And it also speaks of the distribution of spoils. As we read in the first ayah, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ. Ya Rasulullah, now they will ask you about the spoils and the portions of spoils. So, now moving on, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam migrated to Medina, Kuffar of Makkah tried their hardest. Now, this is just a summary of the surah. Then again, I'm not going to the tafsir of this. We will not do ayah by ayah. Now, Kuffar of Makkah, they tried their hardest to take away peace and comfort of Muslims in Medina and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Disbelievers sent a letter to Abdullah bin Ubay, who is a munafiq, a very big munafiq at that time. He sent a letter to Abdullah bin Ubay saying, your people have given shelter and protection to Muslims, so you either withdraw this protection or we will attack you. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, the leader of Aus, once went to Mecca to perform tawaf. Whilst he was performing tawaf, Abu Jahl said to him, you have given shelter to our enemies. Had you not been under the care of one of our leaders, you would not have returned back to Medina. which meant if anyone comes to Mecca from Medina, he shall not survive. So after this day, no one is allowed to come from Medina to Mecca. We will attack him. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu said, if you stop our men from coming to Mecca, we will create a bigger problem for you. Which meant when business caravans are sent to Sham from Mecca, so when caravans are sent to Sham for their business trade or wherever it may be, they pass by Medina. We will use this opportunity and we will seize them, we will seize their assets. After this incident, few disbelievers went to Medina and stole some of their cattle, their animal, and few of their fortune. In the midst of this, Abu Sufyan, who was not a Muslim at that time, took a very big caravan towards Sham, Syria, which included men and women. Now, when this caravan was returning to Mecca, and how big was this caravan? This caravan consisted of 1,000 camels and fortune worth 50,000 dinar. Once again, 1,000 camels and 1,000 camels and fortune worth 50,000 dinar, along with 40 armed men to protect them. When the news reached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Sufyan is heading back to Medina with a caravan. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with his Muslims, applied the way of Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. They took the opinion of Sa'ad bin Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, which was to stop this caravan. Now, note should be taken here, they did not intend to attack them. Their intention was not to go for a battle. Now this was no time to actually gather and prepare soldiers, so whoever was ready at that time decided to go. They were 313 in number, equipped with 17 camels, 2 horses, and 60 shields, or 60 armor. Once again, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in were 313 in number, equipped with 17 camels, 2 horses, and 60 either shields or armor. The news reached Abu Sufyan, Muslims are coming. So he informed Abu Jahl and asked him to prepare an army against Muslims. After telling him, he returned to Mecca using a different route. So he quickly sent a messenger towards Abu Jahl, informing him and letting him know that Muslims are coming to attack us. And he himself, with his caravan, he took a different route. He came from a different way back to Mecca. Now, when this news reached Abu Jahl, he prepared an army, nearly 950 people. Now, these people were fully equipped with armor, with shields, with horses, with camels, with weapons, and everything. When this news reached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Abu Sufyan went back to Medina, went back to Mecca using a different route. He's not where he's supposed to be found. And Abu Jahl is coming with an army. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the mashwara of the Muslims, of his companions, as to what they should do at this moment. So the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, we should not go back. We should engage and confront one another. So that what happened was these two met at the place of Badr. They met by Badr. And this is where the confrontation took place. Although Muslims were less in number, they still became victorious with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equipped Muslims with 1,000 malaika. Then again, my dear respected brothers, now the story of Badr is very interesting, but then again, I do apologize. Please try understanding my situation as well. It is not befitting for me to go into the details of this, as this is a live stream. So on your own, please take time out and read the story of Badr. So they were helped with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala equipped them with 1,000 malaika. Now in this battle, 70 leaders of Quraysh lost their lives. 70 leaders of Quraysh for the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abu Jahl was amongst them. 70 leaders of Quraysh lost their lives. 70 were arrested. 70 leaders of Quraysh were arrested. The rest ran away. The distribution of war spoils, the ayahs of war spoils were revealed after this incident. As we read, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ. Now they will ask you, Ya Rasulullah, about the Anfal, what to do with Anfal, and what about the portions of Anfal. So this is it for Surah Al-Fajr. Now, alhamdulillah, we will start with Surah Tawbah. Now, this surah is also a Madani surah, which was revealed after Fath Makkah, after Makkah was conquered. Based on its content, it is a completion or a continuation, according to scholars, of Surah Al-Fajr. So, based on its content, it is a continuation, it's a completion of Surah Al-Fajr. This is why scholars say this surah does not begin with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the reason why this surah does not start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, because it is a continuation, a completion of Surah Al-Fajr. This surah is also known as Bara'ah. Inshallah, we'll do this entire surah as well. We'll do the main points of this surah. Then again, we'll not go into the details of this surah. And this surah is also known as Bara'ah because Muslims were given freedom from mushrikeen. As we read in the first ayah, بَرَاءَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ إِلَى الَّذِينَ عَاهَدتُم مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. So Muslims were given freedom from mushrikeen. It is also called Tawbah. So now it has two names, Tawbah and also Bara'ah. Bara'ah because Muslims were relieved of mushrikeen. This is why it's called Bara'ah. Bara'ah means freedom. It is also called Tawbah because it talks about Tawbah of those Sahaba who did not take part in the book. And inshallah, we'll do about this today as well. Now, my dear respected brothers, today, then again, because these two surahs, they talk about the content of these two surahs are of Badr. Then again, I said we will not go into the details of this. So today's session may be a little less than our normal days. So now Bara'ah, freedom. They were given freedom. Now what is this freedom? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in these ayahs, in the first few ayahs, to make Jaziratul Arab markaz of Islam. To make Jaziratul Arab, the Arab Peninsula, markaz meaning headquarters of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given disbelievers some respite. They had given believers. Now because after Fath Makkah, it was made pretty clear that now, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said in one hadith, that there cannot be two religions in Jaziratul Arab. There cannot be two religions in Jaziratul Arab. Now, at that time, we know there were two religions. One was polytheism, or you had idol worshippers, or in other words, idolatry. The other was monotheism, Islam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said these two cannot stay here, and he was giving clear indications that Islam is the only religion that is going to be here in Jaziratul Arab, in the Arab Peninsula. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given disbelievers some respite. After this time, no idol worshipper stayed in Jaziratul Arab. So after some respite, Allah ta'ala had given them some time. And now we will talk about how much time as well. After this time, after this amount, it is not permissible for an idol worshipper, for a disbeliever, a non-Muslim, to stay in Jaziratul Arab. Now, there were four types of these mushrikeen who were given these respite. First, those who did not agree on war. Those who did not agree on war against Muslims. They were given 4 months of time. They were given 4 months of time to either accept Islam or you are free to leave. And as we know, idols were also broken. They can no longer worship idols as well. So now the only chance was, look, we have given you 4 months. So within these 4 months, you either accept Islam or you leave Jaziratul Arab, you are free to go. Number 2, those who had agreed on war, they said, we will fight Muslims, but there was no specific time. No time was actually appointed as to when exactly this engagement, this confrontation will take place. These people were also given 4 months, and similar. And the the first two conditions were also applied. You either leave within 4 months or you accept Islam. Number 3, those disbelievers who broke the Hudaybiyah treaty. Those who broke the Sulh Hudaybiyah treaty, they were given time until the end of Muharram. And as we know, the sacred months were there, and it is not okay for Muslims to engage in war in the sacred month. So they were given time until the end of Muharram to leave Makkah, to leave Haram, to leave the Arab Peninsula. Now, for those who agreed after a specific amount of time. Example, 2 tribes from Kinana, Banu Dhumra and Banu Mudlij. They said, give us 9 months of time. This was their agreement. Within 9 months, they were to engage in a battle. And after that, after 9 months, if this would not happen, then they would leave, or they would either embrace Islam or leave. And these 4 reasons, and because of these 4 reasons, this is known as Bara'ah. And then thereafter it goes into the further detail. Thereafter it goes into more details of this Bara'ah, as well as it covers content of Badr. Now, my dear respected brothers, once again, for those who have just joined, I will not go into the details of Anfal, and I've said this, and I've made this clear, and I will not go into the full details of Surah Tawbah as well. I will only touch a few major things. So the first was Bara'ah. As to why the surah is called Bara'ah, because Muslims were given freedom from mushrikeen, and we spoke of their terms as well. Then we'll come to the second biggest portion, the second reason why, or perhaps the main reason why the surah is called Surah Tawbah. Now, for those, if you have your Qur'ans open, if you can go all the way to ayah number 118. Now, the 11th just, يَعْتَذِرُونَ. And this will cover the story of those people who stayed back. So then once again, ayah number 118. Ayah number 118. وعلى الثلاثة الذين خلفوا حتى إذا ضاقت عليهم الأرض بما رحبت وضاقت عليهم أنفسهم وظنوا ألا ملجأ من الله إلا إليه ثم تاب عليهم ليتوبوا إن الله هو التواب الرحيم. The reason why this is called Surah Tawbah. Now, inshallah, my dear respected brothers, the word khulifu has been used here. The word khulifu, which means they were left behind. The word khulifu has been used here. Allah Ta'ala did not use a different word. وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خَلَفُوا, or perhaps those who chose to stay back. No, Allah Ta'ala has used the word وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خُلِّفُوا, those, which means they were left behind. Their matter, now the reason why khulifu has been used here, Mufassirin and ulama, right? Their matter regarding Tawbah has not been solved yet. Had not been solved yet. Their matter regarding Tawbah had not been solved yet. This is why the word khulifu was used here. Now, who were these 3 people? وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خُلِّفُوا. So, Ka'ab bin Malik, the first Sahabi, who stayed back, and they did not go to the battle of, for the battle of Tabuk. Ka'ab bin Malik, the first Sahabi. Second, Murad bin Rabi'. Murad bin Rabi'. Radiallahu anhu. Third Sahabi, Hilal bin Umayyah, radiallahu anhu. So Ka'ab bin Malik, radiallahu anhu, Murad bin Rabi', radiallahu anhu, Hilal bin Umayyah, radiallahu anhu. These 3 Sahaba, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they also participated in other battles. Those munafiqeen who had not taken part in Tabuk because of their hypocrisy also convinced these 3 Sahaba to stay back. When Rasulullah ﷺ returned from Tabuk, these munafiqeen tried to convince him through their false excuse. As we read in this is how the 11th juz starts. يَعْتَذِرْ إِلَيْكُمْ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ. Ya Rasulullah, now these people, they will come up with different excuses. يَعْتَذِرُونَ إِلَيْكُمْ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ. So they will come up with different excuses. Ya Rasulullah, I was not able to come because of this reason. I was not able to come because of this reason. Now we will go into inshallah the details of this. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made a dua for them. After he accepted their apparent excuse, their apparent matter, he accepted whatever excuse they came up with. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Okay, no problem. I will ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive you." And he accepted their apparent matter, and he left their hidden matter to Allah Ta'ala. So whatever excuse, because only Allah Ta'ala knows what is concealed within a person's heart. So they came up with different excuses. Ya Rasulullah, I was not able to come because of this. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Okay, no problem." He accepted their excuse. Thereafter he said, "Now your hidden matter, the real excuse or whatever, only Allah Ta'ala knows best, I will leave this to Allah Ta'ala." Now these munafiqeen, okay, the Sahaba, there were three Sahaba: Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu, Murar bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu. So once again, Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu, Murar bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu, and last, Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu. So once again, Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu, Murar bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu, Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu. So these three Sahabi, they stayed back. Now these munafiqeen, when they went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they presented their excuses. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "You are free to go." These people were living with ease now. Now they were living with ease. They said, "Look, we na'udhu billah, we look at us now. We're living in ease. Nothing happened to us." So they also went to these Sahaba, these three Sahaba, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, and they advised them to give false excuse to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said, "Why don't you go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" People from Banu Salama went to them and they said, just come up with false excuses. Come up with false excuses. Thereafter, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will accept your excuse and he will make a dua for you. Allah will he will ask for your forgiveness. Thereafter, you will live in peace and nothing will happen. But these three Sahaba, of course, they were the companions, the true companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said, how can we do these two things now? We cannot join two errors together. The first was we did not take part in battle. Now this was our mistake for not going. This was our first mistake. Second, how can we lie to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It is not befitting for us to lie to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to come up with false excuses. Since the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in said the truth, their tawbah was accepted. And as for these munafiqeen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed and unveiled their excuses. As Allah ta'ala also says in Surah Tawbah, قُلْ لَا تَعْتَذِرُوا لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكُمْ قَدْ نَبَّأَنَا اللَّهُ مِنْ أَخْبَارِكُمْ. Rasulullah, now you tell them, Allah ta'ala has informed us of what they have done. So as for these munafiqeen, they never truly believed in Allah ta'ala, in the religion of Allah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed and unveiled their excuses. These three Sahaba who said the truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted their tawbah, but for 50 days, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with his companions, did not speak to them. Now I will get into why 50 days and not 40 days or 30 days, perhaps 20 days. So then again, for 50 days, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with their companions. Now just imagine, this is a boycott. You go to the marketplace, no one is talking to you. Let alone talking, you are not even allowed to speak to your wife. As we will read along. And look at their condition. إِذَا ضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنفُسُهُم. So now Ka'b bin Malik relates his story. He says, I have participated in all those battles in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam participated in, except for the battle of Tabuk. I did not participate in the Battle of Badr as well, because the Battle of Badr, it was not an actual battle. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam announced whoever was ready at that time to go and to seize the assets of Abu Sufyan's caravan. It was not really a battle, so that's why I did not participate in Badr, but I participated in now Ka'b bin Malik radhiyallahu anhu is narrating this. I participated in all the battles except for the Battle of Tabuk. But after, he says, I was also present at the Bi'ah of Laylatul Aqaba. And he says, this Bi'ah of Laylatul Aqaba is more beloved to me than the Battle of Badr. Now he narrates as to why he was not able to go. He said, when the Battle of Tabuk came, an announcement was made. An announcement was made that Tabuk, they were nearly 1 million, or may Allah forgive me, I forgot the number, the exact number. So they were large in number. They were large in number, and a lot of Muslims had to go and fight this battle, the Battle of Tabuk. He said, when this Battle of Tabuk came, at this moment, this was the happiest day of my life. I had full health. I was during these days I was happiest. It was as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed me like He had never blessed me before, because never in my life had I enjoyed the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way I am enjoying them right now. Meaning, at this time, during this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed him with a lot of wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed him with good health. And he was enjoying all this. And for this reason, he was not able to take part. Now, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, just before he went to Tabuk, this was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This was also a practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The direction he would go towards to face the enemies, he would tell the people that he and his companions are facing. For instance, now if the enemy was towards east, he would tell everyone that I am going east to fight the enemy. But then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's also a lesson that there's a reason why I'm saying this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not go east; he would take a different route. Thereafter, he would the engage in battle. Now, this is also allowed at the time of battle. This is called deception. Deception in battle is allowed. The reason why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did this was because there were a lot of munafiqeen at the time of Medina at that time. So to be saved from both sides, meaning to be saved, because if a group is caught in between, it is very hard for them to survive. Now, just imagine if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is heading towards east. Now, these munafiqeen, they intended to attack the caravan or the people, the Muslims. Now, Muslims would be in between now. Thereafter, this was an opportunity for others to seize. It was an opportunity for them to defeat the Muslims. So this is why khida, deception, is allowed at this moment. This was something that I felt that needed to be clear. Now, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came back from battle, his practice, the practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was he would first go towards Medina, towards Masjid al-Nabawi. Thereafter, he would pray to rak'atayn. Thereafter, he would go to Fatima radhiyallahu anha. Thereafter, he would go to his wives. So, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now when he came back to Medina after the Battle of Tabuk, he went to Medina. Now, Ka'b bin Malik radhiyallahu anhu, he felt bad. He was already feeling bad because he did not go in the Battle of Tabuk. He did not go for Tabuk. So he said, I was really, now he's also narrating this. He said, I was really scared at that moment to actually see and confront Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So before I went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I had seen few munafiqeen who were sitting there, people from Banu Salima. So sorry, but now before I get to this, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached Tabuk, the plain of Tabuk, the Battle of Tabuk, he asked his companions, where is Ka'b bin Malik? I did not see Ka'b bin Malik. Where is Ka'b bin Malik? So a person from Banu Salima said, Ya Rasulullah, he is too busy in his wealth. He is too busy in his wealth, in his clothing, in his ride, in his horses, and his camel, because Allah Ta'ala has blessed him with a lot of wealth now. He's too busy in that. He's engaged in his wealth. So Mu'adh ibn Jabal at that time he said, no, I only see good in Ka'ab bin Malik. So thereafter Rasulullah took the opinion of Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Now when he came back, he went to Medina's Masjid al-Nabi. Now Ka'ab bin Malik, he's scared now, because he missed the opportunity to go to Tabuk. So he saw Munafiqeen. Now Munafiqeen were there. They gave their excuses, as we read in the Quran as well. They came up with different excuses as to why they could not take part in the war, as to why they could not take part in Tabuk. So Rasulullah did not say anything. He accepted their excuse. He accepted their apparent excuse, and he left their hidden matter, their balcony matter, towards Allah Ta'ala, and he made a dua for them. Now, Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu, he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, after seeing him, he turned his face. Thereafter, Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu said, Ya Rasulullah, by Allah, I'm not a munafiq. Ya Rasulullah, I'm not a hypocrite. Thereafter, he said the entire story as to why he was not able to come. So then, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stayed quiet, and he asked him to leave, because the decision had not been made yet. So he asked him to leave. Now, as he was leaving, people from Banu Salama went to him, and they said to him, look, there are also these people who went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They came up with different excuses. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not do anything to them. Rasulullah just made a dua for them, and he said, now you can go. And now look at them. They're living in ease. They're living with ease. So why don't you go to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and tell them that this is not the reason, and come up with a different excuse. Come up with a new reason. So now Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu narrates that after seeing what happened, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was upset, he was angry with him, and he turned his face. He said, I felt the need to actually go to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and come up with an excuse. Ka'ab bin Malik radiallahu anhu is narrating. He said, I felt the need that I should go to Rasulullah and come up with an excuse and tell him, Ya Rasulullah, if the situation is not like this, something else had happened, and because of this, I was not able to take part in Tabuk. But then again, he said, it is not befitting for me. I have already done something bad. I did not take part in Tabuk. It is not befitting for me to lie. It is not befitting for me to lie to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So I will stay put. Then thereafter he said, before I go, was there any other person who was not able to take part in this? He said, yes, there were two people. So now, who were these two people? The first person was Murad bin Rabi'. Now he also he gave his reason as to why he was not able to take part in the book. For his reason, Murad bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu, he said that he had a garden. Now at that time, his fruits were turning ripe. Now, he said, I have been in many battles with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If I leave my garden right now, if I leave all these fruits that are turning ripe right now, this is something I should not do. I've been with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I've been with him. We've fought many battles together. So Tabuk is something that I will leave. I will leave the battle of Tabuk, and if an opportunity comes again, I will take part in another battle with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This was his excuse. Now he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He felt bad for what he had done, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, please forgive me. This garden of mine, I have given this entire garden fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was the reason why he was not able to come. He said there was also another person, Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu. As for Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu, he was away from his family, from his Ahl al-Ni'ayat for a very long time. And during this time, in the midst of the Battle of Tabuk, he found his family. Now he was with his family. He was just imagine seeing his family after a long time. He said, now we will sit together, we will talk together. For this reason, Ya Rasulullah, I was not able to come to work. So for his tawbah, he said, now this was not the hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said on his own, he said, Ya Rasulullah, because of my family, I was not able to come. I was not able to come to the Battle of Tabuk because of my family. Now I will not talk to my family. Now I will not talk to my family. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then again he remained silent. He said, now you can go. Now as for their, I would not use punishment because punishment is not the right word, but as for their tanbih, as for their warning, people along with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were not allowed to speak to them for 50 days. For 50 days. Now, why 50 days? Why 50 days? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent 50 days in Tabuk. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent 50 days in Tabuk. That was the duration of the Battle of Tabuk, 50 days. So this is the reason why for 50 days, Sahaba radiallahu anhum majma'in were not allowed to talk to them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not talk to them. Now, subhanAllah, look at the story how Ka'b bin Malik narrates. He said, every time I would go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I would find him in the masjid. I would say salam to him, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not say salam to me. I would go to different Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in. I would go to them and I would say salam to them. They would not say salam to me. The next morning when I would go to buy something, and not only salam, karam as well. No salam, no karam. They would not engage in any talk. So now Ka'b bin Malik narrates, on one occasion I was in the masjid and I was praying salah. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I had seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was close to me. Now as I was praying, through the corners of my eyes, I looked at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was looking at me. He said Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking at me. After I finished my salah, as soon as I finished my salah, I looked at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he turned away. He turned his face away. So during salah, when I was praying, I looked through the corners of my eyes, I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looking at me. Then after salah, when I looked at him, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam turned his face away. He said the condition was such that it was as if no one wanted to talk to them. He said I went to my closest cousin. I went to my closest cousin. Was Qatada radiallahu anhu. He said he was in his garden. I climbed the wall, and I went over and I said salam to him. He did not reply. I said salam, and just imagine, Qatada radiallahu anhu, he said he was my closest relative, my closest friend. He said I said salam to him, he did not say salam to me. Because this was a boycott. He said he did not say salam to me. I said salam to him again. He said he did not reply. I said salam to him again. He said, believe me, trust me, I'm not a munafiq, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. Indeed, honestly, please trust me. Qatada radiallahu anhu said, Allahu wa rasuluhu a'lam. That's all he said. He said, after, because, what's his name? Ka'b bin Malik, yes. After Ka'b bin Malik said this, I'm not a munafiq, Qatada radiallahu anhu said, Allahu wa rasuluhu a'lam. Only Allah and His Rasul know best. So upon this, Ka'b bin Malik narrates, he said, I felt it. I cried. I cried profusely, and I came out of his garden. Thereafter, another time came when a person from Sham came. A person from Syria had come, and he was making an announcement, and he was saying, where is Ka'b bin Malik? Where is Ka'b bin Malik? So now I was present there. Now people who were there did not point towards me. They did not point towards me. Now just imagine a person coming from a different city, comes to Medina. Now he makes a claim and he makes an announcement. Where is Ka'b bin Malik? I want to see Ka'b bin Malik. I have something for him. Now people are present there and they know who Ka'b bin Malik radiallahu anhu is, but yet they are not pointing towards it. So Ka'b bin Malik radiallahu anhu went to him himself. But after a letter from Ghassan had come, from Shah Ghassan, the letter said, indeed, your prophet and his people have betrayed you. This was a letter from Ghassan. He said, indeed, your prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, along with his companions, they have betrayed you. Why don't you come to us? We will help you. We will take care of you. We will provide you with shelter. We will give you wealth. We will give you money. So, of course, Ka'b bin Malik, of course, being a Sahaba, after being a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he denied this offer. He said, no, I need you to go back. I will not accept this offer. Now, this was the offer that he was given. The offer was, you leave Medina, you come to us, we will take care of you, we will give you everything, we will give you protection, we will give you shelter, we will provide you with, we will also give you wealth, we'll give you everything. Now he said no, he rejected it. Thereafter, he narrates 40 days had gone by. 40 days had gone by. One of the representatives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose name was Khuzayma bint Thabit. Khuzayma bint Thabit. Now, she had come to Ka'b bin Malik radiyallahu anhu and said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, now the boycott is there, the boycott is still there, but now tell your wives to go back to their house, meaning separate from your wives as well. Do not engage in any talk. You are not allowed to talk to your wives as well. So now this was the other hukam that had taken place. So now, and she said, go and tell your other companions as well, meaning tell Murad bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu to separate from his wife, as well as tell Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu to separate from his wife as well. Now what happened was Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu, he was very old and he had weak eyesight. So his wife went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and requested for her to stay with him, or for him to stay with her. She said, Ya Rasulullah, my husband is an old man, he's not able to see properly. Ya Rasulullah, please give me permission to stay with him. Or Ya Rasulullah, please give him permission to stay with me. So Rasulullah comes in a riwayah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the wife of Hilal bin Umayyah radiallahu anhu to stay with him. Now, days went by. Now, Ka'b bin Malik radiallahu anhu narrates that where I would go outside, no one would talk to me. I would go in the masjid, I would say salam to people, no one would talk to me. My own wife would not talk to me. No one would talk to me. So on one occasion, he said, now on the fifth, their bara'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent the hukm of their bara'ah on the 50th day, 1/3 of the night. 1/3 of this hukm came. The third portion of the night. The third portion of the night. So now the wife, I forget the name of the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I forget which wife it was. She asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, should we go and tell people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven them? Ya Rasulullah, should we go and tell people that Allah ta'ala has forgiven them? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, right now is not the time. You can tell them in the morning, inshallah. The next morning, Ka'b bin Malik radiallahu anhu narrates he was on his terrace and he was looking at the sky. Now, a person climbed Jabal al-Sila', the Jabal of Sila'. A person climbed the Jabal of Sila' and he said, Ya Ka'b, glad tidings be to you. Glad tidings for you, glad tidings for your companions. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven you. Right away, he started crying. Right away, Ka'b bin Malik is narrating. He said, right away I started crying and I went to Masjid al-Nabawi. Masjid al-Nabawi. There, the first person to embrace me was Talha bin Ubaidullah. He said, this is his favorite. This favor is something that I can never forget for the rest of my life. He said, the first person to embrace me, and the first person to give me glad tidings of my forgiveness was Talha bin Ubaidullah, who is also part of Ashara Mubashara. Thereafter, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam embraced me and he said, Ya Ka'b, glad tidings because Allah Ta'ala has forgiven you. Now, my dear respected brothers, this is what we have to understand. Now, the lesson, the main, there are a few lessons that can be taken from this surah, from this story. But perhaps the biggest lesson that we have to understand is as-sidqu yunji wal-kidhbu yuhlik. Telling the truth is always victorious over telling a lie. Meaning those munafiqeen who came with lies, they came up with different excuses. They lied to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as to why they were not able to take part in Tabuk. They lied, and what happened in return? They were not given Islam. Allah Ta'ala did not accept them. Allah Ta'ala did not accept their excuse. As for these people, as for these three Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they said the truth. Although many people, actually, people from Banu Salama, they kept on forcing them. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will talk to you. He will talk to you once you give him a false excuse. Once you give him a false excuse. They said, no. How can we do this? We have to tell the truth. Now, after telling the truth, Allah Ta'ala had forgiven them. Allah Ta'ala had forgiven them. Now, my dear respected brothers, pertaining to this story, I will share a very beautiful hadith. And this is something, my dear respected brothers, that we have to understand today. And this hadith is something that we have to apply today. As Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu narrates, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Alaykum bis-sidq. Alaykum means lazim. It is mandatory for you to take this. Make it a habit of telling the truth. فَإِنَّ الصِّدْقَ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْبِرِّ. Because indeed, telling the truth leads towards righteousness. It leads to actions and good deeds. يَهْدِي إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. And indeed, good actions, righteousness, piety leads a person to Jannah. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ يَصْدُقُ حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ صِدِّيقًا. سبحانallah. Now a person, he tells the truth. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ يَصْدُقُ. He tells the truth to such an extent حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ صِدِّيقًا, until in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is written. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is written that this person is Siddiq, he is always telling the truth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those. Now, on the other hand, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالْكَذِبِ. وَإِيَّاكُمْ means refrain from, abstain from. وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالْكَذِبِ. Abstain from telling a lie. Abstain from not telling the truth. فَإِنَّ الْكَذِبَ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْفُجُورِ. Because verily, when a person lies, it leads him towards bad actions. It leads him towards sin. وَإِنَّ الْفُجُورَ يَهْدِي إِلَى النَّارِ. And indeed, false actions, they lead a person towards Jahannam. They lead a person towards hellfire. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ. Now this is something, my dear respected brothers, we have to understand. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيَكْذِبُ. A person lies, and he continues to lie to such an extent حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَذَّابًا. Until in the eyes of Allah, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is written, his name is written, he is considered a liar. Not only a liar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to understand, for those who understand Arabic, Allah ta'ala did not use the word kadhib here. Indeed, that person, in the eyes of Allah ta'ala, he's a liar. Allah ta'ala did not use the word kadhib here. For those who understand Arabic, Allah ta'ala has used the word kadhab, which means a person who is lying constantly, who is always lying. Kadhib is a person, Sadiq is a person who tells the truth occasionally. Siddiqan is a person who's always telling the truth. This is why Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was known as Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who always said the truth. Kadhib is a person who lies occasionally. He might lie today, another opportunity may come, he might lie tomorrow, he may tell the truth, he might lie again. That is called a kadhib. A kadhab is a person who's always lying, who never tells the truth. And just imagine a person who lies in this world, he continues to lie. So Allah Ta'ala says, okay, you know what? For you, I have written kadhab. You are always you are not telling the truth, you are always lying. And as for that person who is telling the truth, Allah Ta'ala says, you know what? In my eyes, I have written for you, Siddiqan, you are always telling the truth. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who always tell the truth, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make us amongst those who tell lies. Now, one must say, my dear respected brothers and sisters, this is something that we have to do. Now, today, our children, they tend to lie a lot, and we know this. Now, my dear respected brothers, this is something, alhamdulillah, I've learned from my teachers as well. The reason why the child lies today, and this is a nasiha that we have to practice, and please listen to this carefully. The reason why a child lies today is because the child knows if the child tells the truth, he will be punished. His gadgets or whatever he has, all of this will be confiscated. And that is the reason. So in order to save himself, he will come up with a lie. Now, in order to cover this lie, he will come up with many other lies. This is why, my dear respected brothers, lying is so detrimental to your amal, because we cannot disregard. In order for us to cover one lie, we have to lie 1,000 times, 500 times, 600 times. We have to come up with so many lies. But telling the truth is something that, in the beginning, it is very harsh. But after that, alhamdulillah, we don't have to lie. We don't have to cover up with anything, because we don't have to come up with anything, because we have said the truth. And my dear respected brothers, we should refrain from lying, because, as the poet says, do not disregard any small sin. لا تحقرن. Do not disregard any small sin, because فَإِنَّ الْجِبَالَ مِنَ الْحَصَى, because verily mountains are made from pebbles. A person lies once today, then again he lies again. Then he thinks it's very easy for him to lie. Then another week he lies, and the next month he lies. Why didn't you do your work? Or this happened, I was too busy. Or why didn't you come on time? Or this happened, I was busy. That happened. He comes up with different excuses. My dear respected brothers, little does this person know, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, all of his lies will be put together, and it will form, and it will become the size of a mountain. It will be equivalent to a mountain, the size of a mountain. My dear respected brothers, this is something that we have to refrain from. The nasiha that I said, my dear respected brothers, today, and this is what I've learned from my teachers as well. Now, if someone did something wrong, now whenever someone would do something wrong, my teachers would say, right now is the time to make your mistake right now. If you tell us the truth, nothing will happen. We will let you go. But if you don't tell us the truth right now, and we do our own investigation, and we find the truth, in trouble. So, my dear respected brothers, today when you're a child, or your son, your daughter, perhaps, or whoever it may be, when he is, you tell him to tell the truth. You tell him to tell the truth, thereafter you tell him that I will not do anything to you. But if somehow we should advise them to tell the truth. And how can we advise our children? We can tell them, you tell the truth, and nothing will happen to you. I will not do anything to you. You will not be in trouble. I will not confiscate your gadgets. Nothing will happen to you. And they will feel comfortable themselves. Then they will feel like telling the truth. Then they will say, you know what? Nothing is going to happen to me. I'll just tell the truth. And then they'll make it a habit, and inshallah, it will be a habit of them telling the truth. Now, this brings us, alhamdulillah, to our conclusion. Now, as promised, alhamdulillah, we will do a hadith today. So, it has been narrated by Sa'd bin Sa'd al-Sa'idi. He narrates that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, dullani ala amalin idha amaltuhu ahabbani Allah. Tell me of an amal, advise me of an action, of a deed. If I were to do, I will be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will be loved by people as well. So then again, he said, Ya Rasulullah, dullani ala amalin idha amaltuhu ahabbani Allah wa ahabbani nas. Ya Rasulullah, tell me an amal which if I were to do, I would be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will love me through this action, and not only Allah, people will love me as well. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Izhad fi dunya, have no desire for this world, yuhibbuk Allah. Allah will love you. Have no desire for this world, Allah will love you. Wazhad fima inda nas, have no desire for what people possess, yuhibbuk nas. People will love you. Once again, Izhad fi dunya, have no desire for this world. Wazhad fima inda nas, have no desire for what people possess, yuhibbuk nas. People will love you. Now, moving on to our amal, that we could, one dua that we need to do, that we should try doing. It comes in a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever makes this dua before going to bed, whoever reads this before going to bed, Astaghfirullah al-azim, alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyu al-qayyum, wa atubu ilayh. Then again, whoever recites this before going to bed, Astaghfirullah al-Azim, الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. Whoever recites this 3 times before going to bed, غفر الله ذنوبه, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives his sins, وإن كانت مثل زبد البحر, even if it may be equivalent to the amount of foam there is. وإن كانت عدد ورق الشجر, even if it may be the amount of trees, the amount of leaves there are on trees. وإن كانت عدد رمل عارج, even if it may be equivalent to the amount of particles, the amount of sand particles there are in a desert. وإن كانت عدد أيام الدنيا, even if it may be the amount of days there are in this world. So then again, a person who recites Astaghfirullah al-Azim, الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه 3 times before going to bed, غفر الله ذنوبه, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives his sins. وإن كان مثل زبد البحر, even if it may be the amount of foam there is, subhanAllah, the amount of foam there is in the ocean or the sea. وإن كانت عدد ورق الشجر, even if it may be the amount of leaves there are on trees. وإن كانت عدد رمل عالج, even if it may be equivalent to the amount of sand particles there are in a desert. وإن كانت عدد أيام الدنيا, even if it may be the amount of days there are, equivalent to the amount of days there are in this world. Now, for those who are on this, I can write it for you. Okay, so I've said this. Astaghfirullah al-Azim, الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه 3 times. 3 times before going to bed. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive your sins. Now, before we end off, are there any questions pertaining to Surah Al-Fal or Surah Tawbah? Or perhaps you have missed something? I can do a quick recap. So then again, for those who are on this app, Start Meeting, if you can kindly text me or let me know. And inshallah, if you have missed something, I will do a small recap. So alhamdulillah, I think everything is clear, or small recap of what we have done today. Okay, no problem, inshallah. Okay. So the small recap was we did a recap of Surah, actually we did a summary of Surah Al-Fal. Surah Al-Fal. The Surah was revealed around 2nd Hijri. Most of the Surah's content speaks of Badr and Masail related to Badr. It also talks about the distribution of spoils. Thereafter, now I will not go into the details of Badr. We did few details, not full details, but few details of Badr as to how Badr happened. Thereafter, we did Surah Tawbah. This is also a Madani Surah, which was revealed after Fath Makkah. Based on its content, it is a continuation of Surah Al-Fal. Scholars say this can be the reason why this surah does not start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is one of the surahs that does not start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim because it is a continuation, a completion of Surah Al-Fal, which is before this surah. After this surah is also known as Surah Bara'ah. because Muslims were given freedom from mushrikeen. It is also known as Bara, and it is also known as Tawbah. And the reason why it's known as Tawbah is because it talks about the 3 Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in who stayed back, who did not take part in the Battle of Tabuk. And we did the entire story as to how and or why they stayed back, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted their Tawbah. Then again, I've said this in the beginning, my dear respected brothers, since this is a live stream, I am not able to go into the details of Surah Anfal, the Battle of Badr, the war spoils, at the same time, a few details of Surah Tawbah as well, as some of its content is related to, it's linked with the Battle of Badr. Now, Surah Yunus, inshallah, we can do Surah Yunus in details, or if not full details, at least, few details. As we will talk about the drowning of Fir'aun, as well as Yunus alayhi salam as well. Now, for those who wish to read tafsir of Surah Anfal, I've said this before, alhamdulillah, there are many tafsir out there, tafsir Madkhali, tafsir ibn Kathir, Ma'arif al-Quran. There are many, alhamdulillah, reliable tafsir out there. But now, if you are interested in reading the tafsir, my advice, and everyone's advice, even scholars' advice, is that you should not read it on your own. You should read it under the guidance, under the guidelines, under the supervision of a scholar. Under the supervision of a scholar. Because just by honesty, my dear brothers, if a person chooses to read tafsir on his own, at the same time he decides to read hadith or Quran on his own, there's a great chance that he can be misled. So then again, it is beneficial, it is preferable, it is advised for all those who wish to read the tafsir of Surah Anfal that you read it under the supervision of a scholar. Now, are there any more questions, perhaps? Okay, no worries, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us an understanding of what has been heard and said. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to read our du'as on time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to fast with ease. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to maximize our reward while fasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to have love for Quran, to have love for Sunnah, to have love for Hadith, to have love for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have love for Allah ta'ala, to have love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He also enable us to have love for Sahaba. And may He also enable us to have love for Sahaba, and not only for Sahaba, but for those people, to have love for those people who love Sahaba. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to tell the truth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the tricks of shaitan. Jazakallahu khairan for your time. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Yeah. This session is now